Welcome everybody to the two-man power trip, the black man starting the nerd lifestyle. I'm Nicholas, Mr. Go With The Flow.
And I'm the man with the plan, Maurice.
And we're back with another edition of the Blerd By Nature Podcast. What is up?
What's good, bro? What is good?
Yeah, what is good?
Oh boy.
Every day is something different.
Oh man. Wow. So, how's your week been?
My week has been well, when we get into the episode, it'll feel like something similar to it, but this feels close to something of the Fresh Prince episode because my life feel like it got turned upside down since Sunday.
Oh wow. So, whoo, man. Okay. So I guess we're gonna get into that at some point. So,
Yep.
The week so far has been okay.
That's good.
Same for today.
Oh, what happened today?
They were making some changes to some back-end stuff where they wound up breaking the users being able to set up their devices. So that was fun to find out, hey, this is not doing what it's supposed to. I got this iPad, but it has nothing on it.
So it just, everything fell down around y'all? Like the system y'all set up just kind of just fizzled?
They were making changes to implement something else. And when the changes they made broke the process of setting up the iPads. It's like,
Damn.
Oh, this is fun.
So it double backfired. It not only destroyed the work I was working on, it just kind of set y'all back even more.
Yeah, I said, so no, guys, you're going to have to roll this back because this is breaking this. So we rolled that back. It was a quick fix, but yeah.
Oh. I mean,
it was just the way we found. Yeah, it was just the way we found about it was like, ugh.
Yeah, that just sounds like a mess towards it.
Yeah. So that got rolled back. Now I got to figure out how to make the new stuff work without breaking the old stuff.
Facts. Sounds like back to the drawing board for a bit.
Yep. Ooh, and the rain is coming down outside.
Yeah, I hear it through yours. I guess all the windows and stuff. Like yesterday up in the spot, like I was just hearing the wind rustle and the wind was going off at like 2 a.m. Wow. I was shaking before I had to go outside. Thank God it calmed down before I had to hop on a bus or something.
Yeah, that is wild. So for you, I've heard you had an eventful week.
Yep. So starting back from everything was pretty much normal up until like Sundays. Like it was a regular weekend. Me and Kenny was chilling, and then like we had a crappy IHOP experience. When we went in there and we went to IHOP, and like the person, like we sat down and then we was there before a family of 8 showed up, and then there was like 2 waiters, and one waiter who came in to serve the family of 8. She was about it. She was serving them on time and stuff like that. The waiter we got, first of all, we should have taken the hint when somebody came around. Like we was sitting there for about 5 minutes. We was like, okay, people getting ready, people serving X, Y, and Z. Then there was a guy that came around. I think he was the manager that said, "Yo, have you guys been served yet?" And we was like, "No." And he was like, "All right, I'm gonna get her." And then that should have been my first degree to see that something was up. But like the lady finally showed up, and after they were like taking our orders after somebody, like the family of 8 came in after us, and they was getting served and stuff like that. So that was kind of shady already. So the lady came up to us, and we was ready with our order. And we was putting in our drink order, and I asked for something that's usually not on the menu, but I know that they got the splashberry. So I asked her if she could do the splashberry. She was like, "All right, no, it's out for today." And I'm like, "All right, okay, I'll pick something else." Then I swear my ears is perking up because I hear right next door, right to the family of 8. It was like, "Yo, can we get 2 splashberries?" She was like, "Of course, sure." I was like, "Okay,
oh wow,
okay." And then the funny thing is, like when it was bringing drinks to the table and stuff like that, I saw specifically. I was like, I think I heard exactly what I heard. I turned to Kenya. I was like, "Yo, I definitely heard them say that they was getting splashberries," and then they got 2 splashberries, and then they put them down on the table, and I was just staring at them the whole time. I was looking at this shit, and I was like, "All right." So the lady came. I guess the lady saw me from afar, and she came up and she was like, Okay, I know they got splash berries, but they wasn't supposed to give them splash berries because they wasn't supposed to do it. But she did it anyway, and she said that to me, and then walked away. I was like, okay, whatever.
Oh, whatever. That's that bullshit.
Whatever. So we waited amongst the time, and we gave in our full orders, and. Yo, I'm not trying to make a scene at the IHOP or nothing, but like they gave us our orders and some pieces of stuff was missing. Like Kenya ordered a full 4 stacks of pancakes and she only got 2. I got an omelet that was missing cheese sauce. We was missing X, Y, and Z, this and that. And I'm trying to stay calm and try to not make a ruckus because I'm not trying to embarrass my girlfriend in front of me. But like they are just full blown disrespecting because it's like we're waiting the countless amounts of times for food and orders and shit like that, and at one point like we started to see people who sat down after us. They getting doggy bags to leave and shit like that. And I ordered a chicken sandwich around the same time I ordered everything else. And me and Kenya is finishing up our food for the most part. And on top of that, we asked for them to refill the syrup, the old fashioned syrup, because it was way low. I asked her to refill it. She refilled it halfway. And they gave it back. And I'm like, all right, I don't know who's shitting her cornflakes. But, like, why are you taking that out on us? We obviously hadn't disrespected you at all. And I have every right to believe you don't deserve a goddamn tip for this. Oh, she was making it apparently a point to attack us. And then on top of that, I ordered, like, an omelet with a pancake and a drink, and then my drink is free refills, but the lady never came back around, and the time she did come back around, it's waiter policy, because I've served tables and stuff like that, but it's waiter policy. If you see a drink's empty and it's free refills, you at least offer or tell somebody, hey, you want me to refill it for you? She came walking around, and then she just kept walking, and I'm like, okay. Wow. And nothing. And then I'm still waiting for my chicken sandwich. So we chilling out, and me and Kenny is talking, and she's seeing me visibly getting angry and irritated the whole time. And then it's just like we're waiting the whole time for this chicken sandwich to come around. And I'm like, at this point, I just want the check to go. And I'm seeing mad people. The family of 8 already gone. I've seen people who came in. The two people that came in, I think it was 2 ladies, her with her grandma or something. They doggy bag and left. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, all right, what the fuck's going on? And on top of that, I'm not seeing my waiter for like a hot minute. Like she disappeared for a good like 15 minutes now. And we're looking all around and we're like, okay, this is some bullshit. So I see the secondary waiter, and I come to her and I'm like, all right, so I ordered a chicken sandwich. I don't know where the fuck that went, but like, what's going on? And she said she'll go and talk to somebody about it. So they got the chicken sandwich and everything, and I ordered a chicken sandwich with onion rings and IHOP sauce all together. So she went around. The lady that wasn't our waiter got to get me my order and bring me my chicken sandwich. But before she came through with my chicken sandwich, I literally saw her go to this one table in the far corner and asked, and it looks like she was mouthing off something that she was saying that if the patient had ordered if the person had ordered a chicken sandwich, and I'm sitting here, I'm looking from across, I'm like, is the lady who's supposed to be waiting us, is she sitting down? Oh, yeah. So I'm waiting this whole time for food and shit like that. I'm like, wow. So she's sitting down, and I'm talking about the area that we were at. They put us in a section of IHOP that is like it's for families, and even like Kenya noticed that they put us in a section for families, and like the place was near damn empty. And we're still waiting for our food, and at least somebody to come over for a refill. We eating shit dry. Like I'm looking around, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So the lady is talking to her, and I'm like, okay, now I'm assuming that the lady is done sat down. So the lady's coming in with the chicken sandwich. I'm like, just bring me the container to go and the check, because I'm ready to go and shit like that. I'm visibly like super pissed and shit like that. And then when I'm ready to ring up and pay off, because I'm ready to just take Kenya home, but we done. When I go up to the front, the waiter who's not my waiter rang us up, and then she told me that our waiter is in the bathroom.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, fucking funny.
Yeah.
We went in there when it was still bright, and by the time we left, it was pitch black dark. So I was finished with this whole shit. That was worst thing. That was the worst IHOP experience I've ever had, and I've been going to that specific IHOP since I was like 10.
I'm just so bad for you. I was just getting heated listening to shit all day.
Nigga, I was so fucking disrespected. I was like, this is ridiculous, and I didn't want to. I like the whole time. I'm just keeping as calm as I can because I don't want to embarrass Kenya. That's about it. That's it. That's the only thing that's keeping me from causing the fucking ruckus. Because if it was anybody else, if it was my mom with me, if it was my family with me, we would have been raising hell. 100%.
I can so see the look on your face. I'm like, oh 100%. Man.
100%. So I just paid no tip and just walked straight out, and then we got the Uber and dipped out. And then when I got the Uber, that's when by the time we got home, all I wanted to do was drink something from the fridge and then just call it a night. Only for my mom to pull me in, and she was like, "All right, so remember the incident that happened in September where the rain came down and kind of destroyed like the top part of my house and then ran through down to the basement. So after many a deliberation with the lawyers and the contractors and insurance back and forth going through X, Y, and Z of all that shit, she was like, so we was just informed that we have to leave by Tuesday. It was actually supposed to be Monday, but my aunt held it out. So we had some time to shift all our stuff. So we had to move into a hotel, Tuesday. So I'm getting this news right after the IHOP thing. And this was like 9 p.m. on Sunday. So we're hearing all this shit, and I'm like, all right, so we got to pack and everything. Kenya got to go home first thing in the morning now. She was expecting to stay over till about Tuesday or Wednesday, but she gotta get the hell up out of the house. So that's all topsy-turvy, and everything's twisting around. So Monday when I walk in, I'm giving my supervisor the news. I'm telling her that I'm going to be out Tuesday because I'm packing and fixing up everything out of the blue, and then I gotta shift my time back to 9 to 5 for a bit because I don't know, I have to find out the directions that I'm trying to go because I'm not a walk away from work anymore. So I'm trying to figure out like X, Y, and Z and everything going on. What's the situation with that? So that was so Monday was kind of setting up for Tuesday. Tuesday I called out and me and mom was packing, and for the most part I was stacking up the car like Tetris, so we could all head out.
Wow.
I was on pause the entire day because I did most of the packing and stuff finished by like 12 in the afternoon, and then but when I woke up that morning, the people who was already starting, they started to work downstairs at the basement. They started like coming in with like an army of people and stuff like that. And mom was confused because they were supposed to start upstairs first, not downstairs. But we were still upstairs and we wasn't finished packing, so they just decided to start downstairs. And then it was back and forth with my aunt and the contractor and stuff like that because nobody talked to my aunt about starting down to the basement because they didn't take all the shit out so we could move. So they was already starting to shift stuff, and they didn't pack clothes and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, shit's happening left, right, and center. And then on top of that, my aunt went to work that morning. So she had left, so she's getting everything secondhand through me and my mom, like what's going down, and they fixing and they taking stuff, but like nothing's barred off, nothing, like anybody could just, scarf your stuff, and you'd never know. Like this is a whole situation. And then the whole time, like, I'm thinking in my head because I'm like, if we don't leave today, I'm going to have a situation because I can't call out tomorrow too. Like, I can't have back-to-back on that shit. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on, if we're even leaving that day. And then it wasn't until, like, my aunt came home, and then she was like, all right, so we're all like, finish up the packing, and then we're going to head out. And this is, like, 8 p.m. now. So so I've been packed and I've been ready to go from 12. I packed up like the PS5 and everything, and like my laptop was gone. The only thing I was on was like YouTube on my phone the entire day, and then like I plugged out my Wi-Fi router and everything, and I like hid stuff away, so everything was like unplugged and just pushed to the side and shit like that. So I was out majority of the stuff. So by like 8 p.m. I was just ready to go. We packed up everything. We hit the hotel. We was checking in and stuff like that. And then And then like my mom was going off to work that same night, even though she was tired as hell. So I don't know how she did it, but she went off to work, and then after I had to cancel plans with everything, that's when I found out that Regal do cheap movie Tuesdays and stuff like that if you sign up the same way with AMC. So like that's why instantly, like after I got the refund back from AMC when we were supposed to see the JJK movie, I was like, okay, Regal's literally outside my window, and I'm like, okay, they're having an IMAX showing at 10 p.m. and I've already like unpacked, and by like 9:30 I was scarfing down some pasta real fast, and then I just bought the tickets and just walked over and watched the movie in IMAX. Their IMAX is different because you got to go up a flight of stairs. Once you go inside the cinema, you got to go like it's up in the sky. So you gotta go like up two rows of stairs, and then you get up to where the actual seating is. So I was like in the middle, watching everything in subbed, and that movie was fire. That movie was. I read the manga of the movie. It was straight to the T. Shit's fire. Shit leads up for season 2. Everything's good. So that movie was A1. So basically, it was that. Wednesday was learning the road and the bus schedule and X, Y, and Z. Came in about 9, and pretty much between that and today, it was just like figuring my way, getting to and from. We're around in New Rock, so at least there's food stuff around and shit to do, I guess, in general. I haven't really based around New Rock in a while, but so, hey, at least
how long
is
your commute now?
I want to say a good 45 if I catch the bus on time, like a good 45. So okay. So sadly, if I leave out about 8, like 10 minutes before 8, I can catch it at 8. I can catch the bus at 8, and then I should be back. I should be at work by like 8:40, so it should be good for my 9 o'clock. And then I'm back to 9 to 5, so I had regular lunch schedule and stuff like that, and I'm back to having lunch at the place since I'm not going home. So it's just kind of like a readjustment for the most part. But nothing too bad so far. Everything's pretty good. And then we're gonna be here for about. I mean, by yesterday when my aunt checked up on it, they had already like cleared out the basement, and the basement was looking way cleaner than it ever was before. So that's a big ups. They was moving stuff. They was shifted. They were supposed to be like shifting like furniture and stuff today because they had like the washing machines moved and stuff like that, and they were shifting stuff to the lawn. So it looks like more or less they have like a bunch of people there. So when they say about 3 weeks to a month, it's looking like ideally they should be about done in 3 weeks if they're really working on this kind of time, because it look like they working good. So so between that, the next update is Saturday. There's a situation going on, so we kind of have to shift out of the hotel for like I think a day, and then we come back. I don't know if it's the same rooms or something like that, but that's kind of the situation, the lay of the land. So that's that for the next about 3 weeks to a month.
Okay.
So that's my situation going on for the week.
Okay.
Yep. So how was your weekend though?
Oh, it was fine. Like I said, we were at the Airbnb until Tuesday. Had fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shout out to Spirit on the birthday.
Yeah. And then, so by the time we got back, like I said, I was just too tired to go see the movie. So
I figured since you was out. No, she was out completely. The only down part I felt was Andrew was texting me during that shit, asking if you was in line and shit like that. And I was like, oh. And that was funny because, like, you texted me about 30 minutes earlier than that. You was talking about, I'm too tired to go. And I'm like, well, Andrew's in line, so.
I was shit. Sorry, Andrew, man, listen.
Hey man, me and Andrew had the same situation. He was chilling in there watching the movie, and he said the movie was fire. He almost got lost into a long line because he went to he messaged me to message you to ask you if you saw the line. I was like, the line for what? Don't you got the ticket? Just go in. And he was like, there was a screening for something. I'm like, oh, they probably saw Morbius early.
Okay.
Because that's the only thing I would assume there'd be a line for. Because other than that, I'm like, you just walk in and show them your thing. What you doing? So I don't know. But whenever I can next see Andrew, I'll give him his birthday gift, because his birthday should be, I think his birthday tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So So early shout outs to the homie Andrew on his birthday,
shout outs to Andrew.
We're gonna link again. We're gonna find a time to link again and stuff like that. But yeah. But shout outs to the litness of the weekend, man. You sound like you had fun and to come back with that kind of level of tiredness. I know y'all was having a blast at least in the Airbnb.
Yeah, man. And then it was back to work. I was
like, Yep. One way or another, hop right back to work. But yep. All right, so that closes off our wacky adventures of five guys between the weekend and the weekdays so far. So I'm switching over to the shout-outs section. All right, so leading off the pod shout-outs, as always, number one, my girlfriend, the Captain Kenya, Black Ramen Podcast. So, just real note on this. Did you listen to the last episode of the Black Ramen Podcast?
Not yet.
Bro, that shit had my heart in a tizzy. They were talking about like an anime that I currently watch. It's one that's going on right now, the Dress Up Darling thing, and it was like a controversial like moment where they were talking about like this character kind of doing a like the anime is about cosplay, and they got to that point where there was this episode where it kind of seems like she was trying to darken her skin to do a cosplay of a certain thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the discussion was between like one side, which is obviously Patty, was like talking about the whole situation with blackface and how it goes with the culture and stuff like that, and how it just affects. And then the other side was the other two members like kind of defending what was going on and showing specific natures. But I was listening to that shit the whole time, and I was like on Patty's side the whole time, because I'm like, the first thing that popped up in my mind, because they were like kind of giving arguments of like that they not understanding the culture, like the American ways and stuff like that. But the first thing that sprang to mind in my head always is our trip to Amsterdam, where they at the time had just outlawed that Santa Claus thing, where they had the blackface elf that they made fun of for years. And it wasn't until like the tour guide, she said they only outlawed that like 2 years ago. And I'm like, do you know how long blackface has been running around here? It was still in their brochures. They were still talking about it in tour live. Like, bro, for them to call that shit out, I'm like, nah, you can't run it this long. There's black people all over Amsterdam. Don't play that. Don't play that. I'm not giving a pass to the cultures outside of America being culturally don't understand. Like, racism is universal, bro. Don't bullshit me. Don't bullshit me with that. So that last episode, I was in my office having a whole goddamn heart attack when they was bringing up that discussion, because my mind just kept written over that. And I told Patty right after that, and she read the message. She was like, yo, thank you for agreeing. I was like, hey, fuck yeah. So between that, Black Ramen, keep doing what you're doing on these heavy discussions. Sentai Fountain of Knowledge as always. Peter, big respect. Java Tears Podcast, y'all Mania Party coming up. I'm gonna try and see what I can do with that, because I'm gonna still be in these hotels, and I'm way further than I was before. That's the challenging part about it. But I'll figure out the Metro North and shit like that, because I'm still trying to go out to the karaoke thing, like April 1st and supposedly April 2nd or April 3rd. One of those days I'll pop out for the Mania Party. The other day I can't, because it's my aunt's celebration birthday thing. So I'm only gonna be doing one day in Mania and the karaoke. So I'm gonna try and figure out whatever maneuvers that gotta be. So between that, Saison Sessions, your sports show, True Heel Heat, 2.5 bro, Grace Base Eli, yo, time is coming up, bro. He's coming up for that visit. It's relational with Kimar, as always, bro. Kimar, big respects, shout outs to everything that you be doing on your podcast. Shout outs to the relationship, all that good stuff. Keeping it 9,000. Interviews always fire. Spicy Ramen Podcast, respect. FTO Wire, Shown and Tape Podcast, always looking out, and we looking back out for you. RX Superstar Junie said them picks is coming up. I'm hoping them picks is fire. I know if I'm waiting this long, I know the picks is gonna be fire. Bad Guy Jack. I can't
listen.
Yo, me and Jack has been going back and forth. I am all over his Twitter. I just be using the group shit just to answer his shit back like nonstop. Me and Jack's cool. I
saw it, and Jack had me dying today because he went on this rant about jacket time, and I was like, "Who? This sounds like me when I'm talking about you know what?"
Yeah, I mean, yeah, bro. Like, even every time he talks and puts the big shout outs to us, he always talks about what we talk about at the end, that discussion about that certain reboot. And CW has been all over the news talking about X, Y, and Z.
Oh, we gonna get to CW. Oh man,
because man, we got to talk about a couple things. But always, unpopular review, Bad Guy Jack. He is number one when it comes to not only support but like just the discussion and discourse. Man, I can't wait until we do a collab episode. That's gonna be hilarious.
Oh, definitely, it's gonna be a trip.
Oh, that's gonna be a trip. Nerding out with Chelsea. Feel better. Respect to you.
Yes.
And the number one cause of the Flash being renewed, I guarantee you, and put this shit on Fantastic Frankie and your fucking discussions. You are top notch with all your knowledge in X, Y, and Z. Even the shit that she brought up about one member in the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, she actually had me thinking twice. I was like, you know what? You got it, because you be thinking different ways, and I respect that. But you keeping the Flash alive for season 9?
Yo, Frankie is definitely keeping the Flash alive.
You are the only one I know talking about the shit, because everybody's stomping that shit in the ground. Season 9? Bro, this is becoming supernatural levels. It's too much. Stop it. Arrow's done. Flashverse need to chill. Come on, man. How much content we got? We don't got this much comic, man. Stop it.
When I saw that, I was like, the Flash is still on?
She's talking about meeting groups and support groups. Now burn it down. Sheesh. And then Nido Cafe in Chicago, created by Miss Taylor Tillman. All big respects. Special supporter shout outs to Chef Q, Will, Kareem, Spirit again. Shout outs. Happy belated. Josh, Ryan, Lord 69, Katie. Big respects on positivity going through. Nate, Andre Linguistics, Nikisha, Darnell, all y'all big love. Shout outs. And co-host?
Yeah, man. Like I said, shout out to my sisters, because I've actually heard them listening. So it's always weird hearing
Mom
yourself.
Mom, too, yesterday, she was blasting the freaking last episode while I was here watching other stuff. So I'm hearing myself in the background like, what the fuck?
Right. That's always weird. Like, thinking like, was that me?
It was between me hollering and you hollering, bro. It was so weird. Well, I'm trying to watch other shit. I'm like, and then the worst part about it is my cousin came in to listen in, and my mom's talking about, he got a podcast, and he's also Mr. Go with the Flow, and I'm like, oh boy. And then she's like, and his friend Maurice, he the man with the plan. I love it. She be selling us. Selling us, man. Oh. And then my niece is memorized it now. She was like, yo, what's Uncle? Oh, Mr. Go with the Flow. And what's his friend? Mr. Man with the Plan. I'm like, oh, Lord.
I love it. I love it.
Kimmy gonna be out here walking around with t-shirts on in her school.
Oh.
I'm like, we this podcast ain't for the kids. Come on, man.
Oh, man.
Sheesh.
That is funny. We had to make a clean version at some point.
Oh, my God. Oh, please. I don't want to hear how that sense of conversation going to be out of me. I'm just going to be censored majority of it. Good Lord. Oh, yeah. Facts. When we dig into stock news, all big facts.
Oh,
but
man.
Yeah, that close off all love and respects to everybody in the shadow section for sure.
Yes, thank you everybody that's always been rocking with us. Y'all know the vibes. We
continue that shit. Continue that. And we was getting plenty of love for that last episode we posted out on the Fresh Prince.
Yeah,
there's mad shares and mad likes and shit like that. I know that mad people love that shit. So big respect, man. I love that, yo. So big respect to everybody supporting that shit. So switching off the cuff. Now, I wanted to talk to you about my same situation. So, off the cuff, I wanted to talk about drastic changes done fast, because it looks like that is relevant to both of us now currently because of the situation that happened today. So I'm just going to ask you again, how do you deal with drastic changes that are done fast? Like a situation like finding out on Sunday night that you have to pack everything and leave by Tuesday.
All you can do is maneuver. Mm-hmm. You hope for the best, you prepare for the worst.
Yup. Pretty much.
So in that case, it's like, okay, what do I got to do? How do I have to maneuver? This is what it is. Can't cry over spilled milk. This is what we got. All right, how we gonna make this happen?
Facts. That's all. Being in real life motion, I didn't even know what hotel it was gonna be that we was gonna stay at until Tuesday night. so one to definitely go with the flow. We came in here about 8 p.m. I didn't know which way about how was I getting anywhere until we actually got here. So I know all about adapting when the flip goes. It sounds like every day I find out something new.
Well, Mr. Hotel Visitor, how does this hotel rate so far?
Strange. But I'm starting to understand why it's so strange, because I now found out that the room that we're in is built for handicapped people. So that's why the room is looking the way it's looking.
Okay.
That's why we got the spacious and stuff, and why the shower's on the ground and everything, and why the closet is I guess the door handle's gone off it. But yeah, that's why we've come to the realization. But other than that, the hotel's been fine. I have gym access, so my usual Thursday schedule of going to the gym was literally I went downstairs and worked out. So that's perfectly fine by me. There's a pool, but I mean it's too cold to do all that. It's outdoor pool. Breakfast. The breakfast at first I thought was just the basic grab and go and stuff like that, but Mom was there longer, so she got to actually see them make fresh egg sandwiches and shit like that. So I'm gonna go and try and see if I can find that tomorrow. And the bus vibes ain't too bad, and food around me, and fucking the movie's right there, so I could still catch up on my movie Tuesdays. I could Morbius next week, Sonic the week after. I'm still in this. Okay. I'm still in this. I don't care. And after what I did Tuesday, late night showings, I could do it at 10, baby. IMAX at 10 p.m. Shit, I can catch up. So I'm still in the money. Shit, fuck. If I can't go to the party for WrestleMania and somehow WrestleMania comes on the theater over here in IMAX,
okay,
catch me over there too, boy.
I ain't mad.
Shit. So you got it. Like I said, you got to adapt, and that's what you're trying to do. So
you going with the flow.
Yeah, you already know. You already know what's in the name. Shit, I'm waiting until we get these shirts popping, man. We'll get this merch popping. Shit. So yeah. This it's all about adapting.
Yeah, that's all you can do in those situations is adapt.
Yep. And I feel like all of this conversation that we have is gonna go well into discussing the main event episode, where we get into that later on.
Oh yeah, it definitely will.
Because that's all about adapting. So before getting to that, we're going to start our small subsection discussion. So Reboot news, I got a couple information on that. For Reboot news, I'm going to talk about Voltron getting a live action movie. I don't think the Netflix studio is behind it or anything, but they getting a Hollywood adapted movie. Thoughts on Voltron first?
No beef. I like Voltron.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem with the live action. I'm actually intrigued to see how that goes down.
I'm still curious if it's gonna be on any levels stronger than all the live action movie works we've gotten from Power Rangers.
I think it might be in that same vein. I don't know if it'll be stronger.
If it could be any stronger than the 90s version, they have to have a villain that's crazy charismatic.
And that's what it is. I'm trying to think of who could fit that role, but Voltron's villains for the most part have been pretty basic, so
we'll see. I guess we'll see when the casting comes around. This is only the official announcement. We got to see who's on the team, who's the villain, and then I guess we take our thoughts on that further.
And no, we don't need Jason David Frank. listen, I'm just throwing it out there.
For him to take over Voltron would be so weird too.
Right, I'm like, no.
There'd be so many subsections of people that's just gonna be mad angry for no reason. It's gonna be weird. So I don't think it. Honestly, he's too busy with that Legend of White Dragon thing that the trailer still hasn't dropped yet. I don't know when.
Good, keep him busy with that.
Yeah. So beside all that, the second thing I got is the Godzilla and the Power Rangers news. Now, not only I think from Boom Studios and the one artist that did the new reboot to Static, he was working on the comic for Godzilla versus the Power Rangers, which seems to now they have announced that in the MonsterVerse, which is a verse made up of the King Kong world and Godzilla and the Mothras and all that other stuff, the battle of the... In that universe, apparently they have announced that the Power Rangers sit somewhere in that universe, which now makes me extra curious. Now, what is your thoughts on Godzilla and Power Rangers being in the same universe?
That is weird. Now it raises some questions. Mm-hmm. Then what the heck is the Dragon Zord? Now I got questions.
Was that the real Mechazilla?
Right?
Shit. I mean, it did pop up just like Zilla. The way how it popped up from the sea, just like Zilla. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, man, son. And then, so that raises more questions. So what is the timeline here? Because you telling me all these shits was running around and like nobody got the Zords, nobody got like what was the Power Rangers?
Right.
Where's the Power Rangers to handle all this shit? Like fuck Godzilla having to fight all these things. Where were these motherfuckers to fight the other monsters and then fight Godzilla while he was destroying Japan? Like what's going on?
Maybe he was looking for Ninja.
Oh my god, Ninja did this. Ninja did this. I'm gonna put the blame on Ninja this week. We put the blame on Ninja. I don't know what happened, but Ninja did it.
Son finally got out and heard what was going on. A word.
He saw all the monsters that Godzilla was destroying, and he said to himself, "What if we can make a Zord out of that?"
Right? It's like, the alien rangers have no more Zords to steal, so what do we gotta do?
Which one of y'all niggas like a big butterfly Zord?
Right? Maybe Serpent Tower was his first failed experiment.
I can believe it, because that motherfucker was long as fuck. You know what? So I'm curious to see what this comic gonna look like, and then I'm curious to see, because when Hasbro took over Power Rangers, there was so much mergers that was right there with like G.I. Joe and Transformers, but I never thought that also another merger that they would announce would be Godzilla. So it's like they have so many avenues to take shit. I like start taking shit places.
Yeah, I guess they're trying now.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what they want to do going on further, and this will just add to more Ranger discussion that we'll have in the future.
Wow, I'm still Godzilla. Wow,
I know. Things. I'm so curious to read that comic and see how that shit goes down, just that fight, because I know Death Battle called it about a year ago when they had Godzilla versus Dragon Zord. So.
For real, like, oh, here we go. So it's happening.
Yep, it's like these niggas knew. They heard something on the distance, and they was like, "Yo, let's cook this up." So they know it's in the zeitgeist, and then boom, there we go. We got something here.
So that's wild. Next we're gonna have Zordon versus Ninja. We finally get the match. The match we've been waiting for.
The match we've been waiting for them to destroy each other. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I pay good money to watch y'all niggas beat each other up.
It's time.
Shit. So you got any reboot news?
No, not no reboot news. Nothing on the reboot front really this week.
Okay.
See, what you got?
Shifting into stock news. The only thing in stock news I have is just me laughing over NFTs losing steam after they tried to wild out every which way center, every way you turned, anybody had a fucking NFT, and now it's starting to all fall down around, and I'm just laughing.
Oh, yeah, well, you knew that was already a matter of time.
Oh, yeah, basically. So I was just biding my time until I could laugh, and now I could laugh happily, because I'm tired of all these weird monkeys popping up on the internet.
I'm like, yeah, we're going to get some NFTs. No, we're not getting any NFTs. No.
I hated all those secret announcements. They were like, finally, you get an NFT of this. And I'm like, nobody cared. Nobody cared.
Yeah, sorry. Happy to see it.
After like the 50th announcement, yeah. So if y'all falling down around, we just gonna laugh.
Yeah, like waste of time. That was a
big old waste of time. That's a fact.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So you got stock news?
Everything is down.
Shit.
Crypto's down.
Not the news I like to hear.
Crypto down.
Everything's
looking good.
Musk is on a roll.
Yes, and my money is not flowing at all.
My God.
It's in the toilet.
I called my mama, but she asleep. Sheesh. God. This ain't the fun times, man. Looking back about a year ago, we was bright eyed and bushy tailed, little happy, and the money was going up and the shit flowing. A year later, and boy, it is stress.
Big stress.
Following your money and just watching that shit go down is that shit's ugly.
Right? It's like, ew. I was like, look at these numbers. I'm like, ugh.
I know, man.
It's terrible.
This is a fucking mess.
It's awful.
But yeah, we'll be back to hopefully next week might be a brighter spot with that.
I hope so.
Yep.
That's all we can hope for.
Yeah. But that's closing the book on stock news and the sub news section of the week. And it's time to shift over. It's time for the main event. The main event segment. Third segment of the evening. We back on the comfy couch. We back at it with the man, the meme, the legend, Steve Harvey. We're doing the Steve Harvey Show, the 90s Steve Harvey Show, episode 1 and 2. And let's talk about Steve and the Zeitgeist before we even get into this notes or anything. Because damn, son, all I see all over TikTok is everybody making fun of Steve on this Family Feud thing. The damn answer shit and the damn sit on your face and nobody can whoop me. That shit that by TikTok has been having me dying.
It is so funny because I posted that way before this shit blew up.
Hey man, you never know what the hell gets blown up because everybody started redoing it again.
All I hear is them cracking up. I was like, yeah, I remember this.
I mean, Steve is timeless. And then let's talk about Steve getting into the realm of our business this week, where he was Judge Steve in the middle of with Kevin Sullivan and JJ Dillon.
Yeah.
What the? I can't turn around a corner without seeing something. Steve is in the zeitgeist. He is just cultural to this phenomenon. It just keeps happening.
Yeah, that is too funny. That Steve has been all over the place. I'm like, what are you doing, Steve?
It's just constantly relevant for some shit. He knows to keep his name in the center. I tell you that.
And man, he been doing it. I'm still wild. He was a judge now.
That's what I'm saying. But they was doing what was it? They was doing Judge Jerry Springer not too long ago. So they was just handing out judge passes to everybody.
I'm like, yo, Steve. I'm like, what?
Oh, shit. Talking about I never heard of nothing about no rocking the boat. I was like, bro, what the fuck?
Yo, for real. And I'm like, yo, Steve, I ain't mad at you. Keep
bro, Steve, keep the hustle. I mean, somebody got to pay for them goddamn suits.
Suits.
Sheesh.
Oof.
That color game, shit. Nah, what was it? So there was a video that came down that he was wearing some fancy new suits that was lined up with his fit and shit like that. And one of my friends said he came a long way from them days as Steve Hightower and them Hightower suits. And I was dying because I was like, I just reviewed these episodes, man.
I had a Hightower suit.
I was like, yo, the so many buttons. I was like, Lord.
Bring the front, hit the front.
Oh my God. All right, we go step into it now. So fast facts real quick because I only got a few of them. All right, so the Steve Harvey Show history. It was running from August 25th of 96 to February 17th of 2002. It's an American sitcom, 6 seasons and 122 episodes, running from the WB to TBS. Basically, once famous musician down on his luck goes to work at a high school with his friend teaching music. And that teaching music to a point, and then we'll follow up with that going into the episode. All right, do you have any fast facts?
No, I don't have any fast facts here.
All right, we can step into it. Episode 1, Back to School.
Okay, so the episode starts with our introduction to Steve.
Yep, Steve Hightower.
Yep, and of course, he's in his bright red suit.
So hold on. So we're into this episode jumping in, and I guess like did he tell like a camera crew or something to be on him before, because he's already had this set up like a documentary. Like this is his first day getting here, and it's like he's acting like he's got a camera crew or something like that. Someone's following him around.
I think they're just breaking the fourth wall here.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking in my head, he's like, what is he like doing a documentary for? What is this going on TV or something like that? And is that the storyline of the show?
Yeah, no, he's talking to us, the viewers.
Oh, okay. Because I see, someone needs to explain that, because I thought this was a documentary for his like rise back into the music industry that stopped off at his time in a high school.
Nah. So he was telling us how he was part of a band, the Hightop, and how he was rich and living the rich life. Until he wasn't.
He said he broke now and working. He said he's so broke they cut off the fridge light.
Yeah. Right after he says that, he heads into the main office because they're at the school, of course. And then we get the intro.
Yup. And the opening song, which is a jazz banger. Mm-hmm. The visuals and the title and the big mustache. The smile, the big mustache playing the saxophone.
Yeah, it's a vibe. I was like, it fits so well. Yeah, it fits so well.
And they getting into the damn what's it, the sidetrack music, the one that they always getting into the school. Dun dun. Mm-hmm. Dun, dun, dun. They play that shit all the time. I'm like, you can't get to a scene without hearing that shit.
They were very good with the music.
Yep. Here. I mean, they gotta.
So next, we see inside the office, we get our intro to Stanley.
Yeah, Stanley Kuznaki, aka Bullet Head. Because you see, he got a bullet in his head.
Exactly.
Yeah, we was already. Steve came in here, he heard that shit. He was already like, "Oh, what did I get myself into?"
Exactly. When Steve introduces himself, he's like, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm a new music teacher." He's like, "I'm here to see the principal." And of course, Stanley tells him why they called him Bullet Head, and the look on Steve's face.
He like, "Boy, I need to know your life story." And once again, go back to the part, you got a bullet in your head.
Oh, of course, because Bullet Head was like, if you need push pins, erasers, I got you. He's like, nah, hold up.
Low.
Right? He's like, hold up, let's go back to the part where you said you got a bullet in your head.
He's like, what school am I at, bro?
Oh, man.
Shit.
And then, so next, we get our intro to Cedric, because he walks in.
A.k.a. Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the first episode, nobody calls him Ced, because I didn't even hear the name Ced come up. It was just all Coach.
You're right, yeah. No one really calls him Cedric until later.
Yeah.
Yep, so he's welcoming Steve and asks him how he's doing. And then Bullethead goes to answer, and he's like, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Mr. Hightower. And he tells Steve, like, yeah, he got a bullet in his head. It's not like...
Yeah, I think I got that.
Right? And so next we get our intro to the principal, Regina Greer.
Yep.
And she gives Stanley some letters. She tells Stanley to put the stamps on the front this time. Yep. And Stanley was like, "Oh, so you want it done regular deck?" I'm like, "Okay."
I ain't fancy shit. Trying to change the game.
Right. So then Cedric tells Regina good morning, and he introduces Steve. Mm-hmm. And so Steve meets up with her. He's like, "Oh, you don't remind me of the principal I had," and he starts describing his old principal.
Yup.
And then here comes Regina, says, "Oh, you mean Superintendent Williams?" Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh," and then she was like, "Yeah, the lady that gave me my first job." And Steve was like,
"Oh shit."
And she's like, we were, as you can tell, we were both like, "Oof."
Yeah.
Well, you already started off with a roll. You already got one foot in your mouth already.
Facts. She clapped back straight off the manly woman jokes already.
Yeah, and then she goes on to say, "Perhaps you find him hormonal imbalances funny and humorous." I'm like,
talk about catching somebody up real fast. I mean, this was the 90s, but she was already putting homie in place for making some insensitive jokes.
Yeah, she was like, "Yo, in my office." It's like, "Not you, coach."
Yeah. Damn.
So they're in the office. And it's wow. Steve was going off. Steve was like, he's like, the last time I was in the principal office was for putting a sign on the fat girl that said I sweat Crisco. Yo, we did peep that. Regina got kind of triggered by that.
Yeah, I was like, my son will come to pay for that kind of shit. Like, he don't know. He's setting his ass up.
And I was just like, ooh, shit.
We don't know.
And then so he chuckles and said, "You had to be there." And Regina just
red flags going off.
I'm like, oh, what is going? Something's up. I'm like, something's going on here. I don't know what it is yet, but something's going on. And then he goes on, tell her how he appreciates the opportunity for the job, etc., etc. And then Regina stops him and says, "Save the syrup for your pancakes." And she was like, He's like, and then she goes on to say, "With those big old ears of yours, you think you can hear?"
I was dying because I'm like, imagine you come into work and this is your boss. This is the principal that already got flames for your ass talking about your big old ears. You like, come again, bitch?
Cutting your ass. I'm like, ooh.
Like, shit.
I'm like, well, damn. And then here goes Steve like, did we date?
You know what? Off of this, low key, just randomly get away from reviewing this real quick. Yo, this makes me feel like on the same energy. Yo, we got to put Abbott Elementary on our list to review because the principal in there roast the main girl just the same way.
You know what? I find this hilarious because at one point I did work in the school.
So, you did?
I did. At one point, I did work in the school. So this is cracking me up.
Oh shit! It's gonna be fun. All right, hopping back in the episode.
Because the principal reminds me.
Oh nah!
Ooh.
Oh nah!
Oh, but there's things I'm not gonna say on air, but
That's how you know it's already reckless. That's how you already know it's reckless.
Ooh.
All right.
So continuing on, Regina says no, and then Steve was like, "Did I date your sister?" And she was like, "No." She's like, "Now can we stay in the present despite your clothes?"
Nigga.
Ooh,
she got heat.
Damn.
She got heat for days.
Son, Regina is not playing.
Nah, man.
So then she goes on to tell him that that he is now the head of the department due to budget cuts. So not only is he the music teacher, but he's the art teacher and the drama teacher as well.
Like, god damn.
And she gives him the new contract. Steve's like, "Nah, I'm not with none of this." And then Regina's like, "Well, she'll just have to find someone else then." And Steve was like, "Hold on now. I need to go over this with my colleagues, Mr. Mortgage, Mr. Gas Bill, and Mr. Car Note." Yes. And Regina was like, "I bet you got until 4:30, or all of y'all can carpool over to Mr. Unemployment."
Damn. So he got the ultimatum set up.
And so Regina tells him, "Good day." And then Hang Up Steve was like, "Do I remind you of someone? An ex-boyfriend? Baby daddy? How about that guy that gave you that perm?" I'm like, no.
He was like, "I got you one way or another."
Ooh, and then he leaves. I was like, "Yo, Steve, what are you doing?"
He said, "I gotta have the last laugh one way or another. I don't care if I'm going to unemployment. I'm going out swinging."
He's like, nah, she clapped on my suit. You think I'm not gonna clap back?
She said, "My suit, my ears, my life. Listen here."
So the next scene, we see Steve in the classroom. So I'm guessing his conversation with Mr. Gas Bill, Mr. Mortgage, and Mr. Car Note said, "Listen, you better take this job."
Well, he's still here to do the music part of that shit. But I mean, whether he agreed to shit or not, he at least gonna do that.
Oh, we about to find out. Mm-hmm. So he asked the kids for their attention. They ignore him.
Yep.
So then he grabs the sax and starts playing. Mm-hmm. And so the class settles down, and he introduced himself as the music teacher, the art teacher, and the drama teacher.
Yep. So I guess either this is a trial by period, or my son has signed, or just agreed.
So we then get our intro to Sophia, who asks him, "Where's the old teacher? Why are you teaching all these subjects?" And why we gotta take this class anyway?
And let's talk about the way she did it. She got up in his face. This was no ask. She got up and went straight to his face in front of the class. Like, God damn, okay.
Yeah, son. And then here comes Steve. He stops his foot. He says, I don't know. I was set up. And I don't know.
So sit your ass back down.
Oh, man. And so next we get our intro to Sarah.
Who loves acting, but the class is annoyed the second she introduced herself of who she is.
Yeah. And then so her and Sophia start going at it. And Steve was like, hey, this ain't Ricky Lake. And I immediately started hearing the Ricky Lake theme in my head. I'm like, wow.
Timeline running now.
Right? And here comes Steve. She's like, I'll let you fight. I'm like, oh, Steve.
Shit. He know what kind of school he at.
Right? And so next we get our intro to Romeo Santino, who comes in blasting the boombox.
And the class is popping. Like, the moment he sat in, it was a whole mood change.
Yep, and they hang up Steve. Oh, look, y'all, it's Radio Raheem. I'm like, oh, Steve. And Steve was like, you're late. And Romeo's like, I'm Romeo. I had to make an entrance. And I'm like, he asked Steve if his suit has an 8-track. I'm like, no.
And then he sit down, go canoodling up with Sophia, so that's his girl.
Not before Steve had that clap back. He's like, listen, he's like, Biggie Small must have had a garage sale. I was You know Steve wasn't letting that one slide. Nah, you know he wasn't letting it slide.
Nah.
If he got the principal, you know he wasn't letting that slide. Oh, man. And then he goes, Sophia's talking about, no, don't pick off Romeo. He was late because he was getting my birthday gift. And so they began making out, and Steve was like, hold on, what y'all think this is, Bible study? And then here comes Cedric.
Yep.
Oh, man.
And calm my mother down with the whistle.
Yes. I'm like, yo. Said, like, listen, this is Mr. Hightop. She's a new teacher. Give him some respect.
And Steve like, yo, F all that. Meet me in the hall.
Wait, that did that.
And Steve called Coach into the hallway and just started complaining about everything. He like, yo, said, you done set me up with the bullshit right here.
He's like, you done got me with that crazy principal. You done got me with these wild kids. You set me up, said.
No.
He's like, I appreciate it, but this is wild shit. Like, I ain't signed up for all this.
Nope.
Oh, man. And Sam was like, huh, what? And I'm like, yo, Sam.
Shit.
And you can just see the looks that Steve is giving Cedric at this point. It's just wild. He's like, you know, I need the money, but damn.
He said, I mean, you said you need help, so there you go, man. I brought you help.
And then he started going off on Principal Gray. He's like, what I ever did to her? So he still ain't put two and two together yet.
Not even close.
And then Steve was like, Cedric's like, yeah, you gotta go put hands this way. He's like, you packing, right?
Nigga said, no, I'm not packing.
Yo, and what Cabby cracking up was like, Steve was like, yo, this was supposed to be teaching music. He's like, they got me teaching art and drama. And Cedric's like, oh, yeah. And Steve was like, oh, yeah.
What you mean?
Oh, yeah, as in you do?
Said, what you mean? Oh, yeah, where you going?
Yeah, he was like, oh, yeah, as if you knew this was going down. Or, oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, he's like, oh, this is like, oh, you didn't know. So he questioned that if Sed knew all this was going to go down.
Said like, oh, shit.
What happened was, maybe not.
Shit. He was like, well, but you and that, man, you do your thing.
Right? He's like, yep, he was like, Steve, I'm just trying to help you out because your showbiz thing's played out. He's like, listen, I'm just trying to help you out, bro.
So Steve and Coach head back into class, all to see the drama afoot.
Not before he said the rest of the Hightop's work at the post office. I was weak.
Oh, damn. I mean, he not completely wrong, but hey.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I mean, you gotta be real with a nigga if he asking for a high school job, so yeah.
Yo, and then he was talking about Principal Grant. He's like, what is it with that principal treating me like LaToya at a family reunion? Yeah.
Riders was going off.
Yeah, Steve was going off on, yeah. And Steve was like, nah, this is a mistake. This is all wrong. And then Hiccup said it to him, I'm gonna show you how to handle the situation. And like he said, he asked Steve again, you packing, right? Steve's like, no, I ain't packing.
Insane.
Listen, Steve. Said was cracking up at that point because he fucking with Steve now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Steve like, listen. He said was like, listen, just go in there, show them moving in charge. And they start acting up, throw some of them out. You got this, Steve. You got this. He ain't got this, y'all. He got this. He got this. And of course, he told him to watch out for the big ashy one in the corner because he did some time. Yeah, I'm like, wow. The looks that Steve has been giving him.
Facts, piercing stares of death.
Oh, and while we go back in the classroom, it look like Romeo and Sophia have broken up.
So that's the drama.
And said to dip out. He's like, listen, son, I got a TV dinner cooking into something, so I gotta go. So, oh boy. And then so
Sarah starts to put the recap in and let Steve knows what's going on between Sophia and Romeo, why they got so much drama.
Right, first Bullethead tries and then fails epically. And like you said, Sarah's giving Steve the 411 about everything, Yeah, Sarah kills me because she's giving all the tea and detail. And then here comes Steve. Why don't you slow down before you blow a lip and hurt somebody? Yo. Yo, Steve was already over it at this point.
100%.
He's already over it. So at this point, Steve kicks her and Romeo out. He's like, nah, y'all got to go. Y'all problematic. Out.
It should.
And then Sophia's going like, you gonna kick me out on my birthday? And Steve says, oh, I'm sorry. And then he starts giving her the classic, happy birthday to you. He threw them out, shut the door right on him. Whereas Romeo was talking, I'm like, yo, listen, man. Steve was contemplating life. He's like, how'd I get myself in this situation? What am I doing wrong?
He was like, I was popping on stage. Now I'm just here in the mess being a security guard.
For real. And so next we see Steve playing the saxophone. He tells them it's a B flat. So Sarah asks, how does he know? And he tell him, he said he used to be big time. He's like, I was almost one of the Commodores. In the class is like, who? Oh man, this is so funny. This is hilarious. So then Steve is going on to explain. He's like, you see all the moves and stuff? They stole that from me. They stole that from Steve. Oh, man. And guess who pops in? Principal Greer. And she's like, Mr. Hightop, can I see you outside for a moment? Oh, shit. Think Steve in trouble. Co-host?
Sure.
Yo, I just realized with my notes, Steve is so over. He's like, wow, what you need now? You need somebody to cook the school lunch?
she said, hold on now.
He's like, you're not going to give me no more jobs.
Shit, you bring that up. You never know. You going to be flipping burgers at...
You hear that? It's like Steve goes outside. I'm like, yo. Steve was already just like, he's like, what? What now? Yeah. So Principal Greer tells him like, yo, Hightop, I believe these are your students. And he's like, yeah, they look like I've seen them before.
Look like somebody.
I've seen them before.
They look like somebody.
So she sends them back in class, and Romeo using all that same stuff Bullethead was just talking about, and Steve was just like, this.
It worked perfection, because once that hug came in, you saw that side eye, he went right back to class. Yep. And then in the middle of that, what was it? Regina was talking to Steve, and she looked up, she was like, do I smell Hungry Man dinner? Coach in the back. She's like, oh shit, book it.
And so Regina's going off basically saying, yo, she's like, I don't know where you got the idea that you could just throw kids out of class when you can't handle them. And he, like you said, here comes Cedric over here the whole thing. Son overheard the whole thing.
Shit.
And then, like you said, when Regina said, did she spell a Hungry Man dinner, Cedric booked it.
He was like, oh fuck.
And I was crying. I was like, son. I'm like, ugh. And Steve did clap back like, nah, that was just a Hungry Man.
I mean, it was a fact.
Oh, man. They said that day. Oh, my goodness. It's too funny. Yo, the jokes in here killing me.
Yeah. And
then she goes on to continue with Steve, like, yeah, you know, the magnitude of responsibility, you take it on. Like, Steve was probably like, I ain't signed up for all this. And then, here it go. She tells him, you were not the cool man on campus like you were in high school.
He was like, wait, what?
Right? And so Regina goes back into her office and he goes like, high school? So he still ain't put it together yet.
Yeah, he's starting the process. The wheels are turning, but it ain't
the wheels are turning. He's like, oh. It's like, oh. Yep, but Seth finally comes back. Like, yeah, she still is strict, but she got some gravy on that biscuit. I'm like, oh, Cedric. Cedric's like, listen, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. I ain't trying to bother nobody. I ain't trying to do none of that.
Yup.
So at this point, Steve was dealing with the students. He tells Sophia to give Romeo back his clothes. Sophia said she's tired of looking at his skinny Jodeci chest anyway. I'm like, yo, man, my goodness. So Steve was just trying to get his classroom back under control. He tells Romeo to put his clothes back on. Romeo says, "Nah, I don't need them clothes." He's like, "Listen, it's cold in Chicago." He's like, "Not only do you need those clothes, but you need a big woman beside you." I'm like, oh, Steve. And basically, Steve's like, he tell Romeo to come with him. He tell the class, like, no talking, no none of that. And he's like, if anything wet hits me on the back of the neck, it's on.
He like, fuck this job, you getting your hand.
He's like, somebody's getting mixed with this sack flow.
Facts.
I had to fight somebody's parents because this ain't gonna be it.
Someone gotta go.
Right? And then, so, he having this little heart-to-heart with Romeo about why he ain't get this girl gift, why you bringing all this drama in my classroom, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, he like, yo, get the girl something. Just do something for her, something.
And then, so Romeo tells him what the situation was. He's like, nice knowing your shaft. I'm like, damn. Let me stop. And then, at the end of the day, here comes Sophia talking about what it looks like a transfer slip. So, signed it, so I can transfer out.
She's trying to shift classes due to all this drama. She don't want to see that boy in none of her classes like that.
Yeah. And then Steve was like, don't you have some little homie girlfriends you could talk this over with? And they like... So I guess Steve took on the role as guidance counselor too.
Yep.
Guess that wasn't guess that was in the fine print of the contract.
Mm-hmm. Add yourself to something now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's better than the kitchen.
Oh, that's next. He will have to bust a hairnet pretty soon.
Oh, definitely. Steve drops some knowledge on her. And then, next scene we see Romeo out there on the stairs and we see Steve back in guidance counselor road. And again, here comes Steve dropping some knowledge. Of course, they don't want it, but they gonna hear it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's giving Romeo, he's like, listen, Romeo. He's like, nah, son, you need to go fix that now.
Yeah.
And then so Romeo finally tells him what he spent the money on. So he spent the money to pay the electricity. So it was like, okay. I'm like, all right. Steve felt that because, they cut off his refrigerator light. So, he probably felt something about that. And then he was like, why didn't you just tell her that? He's like, because I'm mean. I got to keep up appearances and all this other stuff. And he's like, I can't have that on me. He's like, my person's supposed to be, I'm Romeo. He's like, I can't let them find out my family can't pay the light bill. I felt that.
I totally understand, but he was coming to Steve, bringing up the point that he feels less masculine that he can't take care of his girl and pay off the bills.
That's what I'm saying.
But Steve had to give him that heart to heart, telling him that like you paying the bill, that makes you more of an adult and more of a man than you understand because you taking care of business.
Yeah, especially
for your family.
Definitely. So I'm like. This interaction between Romeo and Steve, right from the jump, you could tell, they're like, wow. And then, so they having their heart to heart, and then Romeo was like, you've been there too? And Steve was like, I'm there now. And so I'm thinking about Steve's poor disconnected refrigerator light.
Yep. They both well off about paying the bill right now.
Right? And he's like, why you think I'm in this school?
So Steve advises Romeo that he'll help him with a gift idea for Sophia.
Yep. So you can tell their relationship is going to be good.
Oh yeah, something blossomed out of this conversation for sure.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I like it.
Mm-hmm. So he asks Romeo what he can do,
and then Mr. Hightop helping out with Sophia's gift.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, I like Steve, the guidance counselor.
Yeah, it's working out for these kids. I mean, he pulled Sophia in the room into the classroom while he playing on the piano, and then he read her poems with emphasis.
Mm-hmm. Yo, definitely.
Talking, she got bread. Oh.
Yeah, for real, man. That was just whew.
That shit was great. And when Sophia over, obviously, she was happy for her birthday with her birthday gift.
Right? And then, okay, so at this point, Seth is looking, and Seth has said it's almost 4:30.
Yeah.
And Steve has said it's something he's got to do. He grabbed the paper. Mm-hmm. And that looks like that's the contract. So looks like you were right. So he did hadn't signed it yet.
Yeah, he did sign it. He just didn't give it in. He and Han the whole time. Like he'd already accepted like doing the job throughout the day. And he signed the paper. He just forgot to give it to her. So it was already like he went back to the office to give it to her, and then she was like, "It's 4:35. You late?"
Yeah, you're right. Woo.
So he was just trying to make it official, but he was just like chopping his time throughout the whole day.
Yo,
he had already made the decision the moment he looked at his bill.
Yo, when she said he was 5 minutes late, he's like, well, "So what you gonna do? Spank me?" I'm like, Steve.
He was like, "I don't give a fuck no more."
Steve is giving 0 fucks at this point.
Bro, not the day he had.
Son was like, "Listen, you done put me through everything, lady. I'm tired of your mess." And then she go, taking up half the sheet of paper to sign your name.
He was like, "What?"
Yo, Steve was really trying to put it together.
He said, "Cut the bullshit. Who are you?" And then Regina finally revealed herself.
Right? Yo, exactly. He was like, "Okay." I'm sorry to do this, Steve. He was like, "Okay, who the hell are you?" And oh man, he's like, "You starting to scare me now. Let's go now." And then here go Regina. Does the name Blubber ring a bell to you? Fat Alberta?
Oh my god.
And he looks up and down at her and he's like, "Peggy Greer?
Peggy Greer? Peggy Greer, that you?"
Yeah, he's like, "Is that you?"
Oh my god. So at that very moment, we know that the joke he was talking about back in the day was literally Regina the whole time. With the whole Crisco and everything.
Yeah, that's why she put him through the ringer.
Oh my god.
That's why, I bet you the budget cuts might have been self-inflicted. Yo, she set this man up. He's like, "I sweat Crisco, Piggy Greer." I'm like, Steve.
And then the worst part about it is she was talking about the history of songs that he made in the high tower just to be like right beside Regina, like just the whole line of fat jokes in his songs.
Yeah, he was like, "Girl, you done cleaned up since high school." I'm like, yeah. Woo.
Man. Any other person would have been like, "Oh fuck, this nigga just keep on with more jokes."
Yep, yo, son, he is just like, what the, yo, he's like, "Well, go ahead, Piggy." I'm like, son. So she pistol whipped you. I could not say nothing about nothing.
My guy had the same titles.
And then Steve, and then like you were saying, Steve was talking about, "Oh, kids are so cruel. I can't believe they made me write all those terrible songs about you." Yeah, like what? I'm like, "Nah, Steve, don't try to backtrack now." And then Regina was like, "Listen," he's like, "Listen, Mr. Hightower, it don't matter now because I got you on the dotted line." Oh, she about to get your ass.
Mm-hmm. She said, "Mr. Hightower,
it's about to be paid back."
She said, "Mr. Hightower, just know I'm always on top." He was
I'm
okay with that.
She's like, "You my bitch now."
He said, "You know what? I'm good with it."
And then Steve was like, "This is payback," and she's like, "Oh no, we not even there yet." I was like, "Ooh."
I mean, this man made this man wrote multiple hit songs about it. You know it had to be something.
And then, like you said, she started naming the songs like "Ain't No Neck Bone," like the one I got.
Okay, that's what I was trying to remember. I was like, damn.
And then she was just naming the songs like "The First Time I Ever Saw Some Ribs."
Oh man!
And Steve is just Steve's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that one." Yo, Steve. And then he starts singing, talking about, "I know you want my pig foot." Yeah, I'm like, no.
And I refuse to let it go.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
And yo, Regina was just like, get annoyed. Say bye.
So he got on that, and then after they settled goodbyes out of that, Steve meets up with Coach, and he talks and reflects, talking about, "Man, can you believe that Piggy is now all grown up and the principal now?" And
then he gonna say it again with his oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Get your ass back here. Said.
Right? That's exactly. He's like, yo, son. And that's how we end the episode. He's like, what you mean? Oh, yeah.
And I enjoyed that the end credits are also bloopers.
Yes.
Shit. But yeah, so my final impressions is this shit classic and funny as fuck as always with a cause to it. We talking grown up, hard times, reap what you sow, secrets, etc. Episode comes with thoughtful moments, but the comedy is great to continue with. Just that's it.
Yo, this was a classic though, man, and I was cracking up the whole time.
Yo.
Oh man, Steve said, "I said it's Piggy," and yo,
anybody else would have found that out and be secondhand embarrassed. This man just piled up more jokes like he was already in the doghouse.
I'm like, and don't worry, Piggy got something for you.
Oh, facts. You signed on the dotted line. Your ass is overworked.
Yep. She's like, oh yeah, you mine now. I was like, whoop.
But you know, Steve always got to have the last word because, man, when she said, yo, just as long as you know I'm on top, he said, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm like, whoo, boy. So yeah, this was like I said. If I was on board for the first episode, I was like, okay, yeah, we got jokes, we got comedy.
Set in the troops.
We got to see how Miss Grizz gonna get her revenge.
Yep. Well, we shift off into the next episode with that. We're gonna dive into episode 2, Dead Dog Walking.
Dead Dog. Oh, what a title!
Yep. Yep. So we start off the episode with Steve talking to us again because I put the camera. Because I'm not understanding what's going on. Steve talking to us about now. This is where he introduced the coach, aka said that his best friend who used to hang with his group back then, and then he talks about his living skills. He's like, "Yeah, I love Seb, but I wouldn't live with him." Yep. And then we get the opening playthrough again. Opening is lit.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Do. I always like how they started off with the beeper.
So, yeah. Right. So the opening again is lit, as we said. Visuals and all the jazz music playing. We shift back into the episode, and it is payday. But in the middle of that, Seth is stressed because he living with his mom, and mama got her groove back with her new boyfriend. He made subtle, like he was talking about his roommate, but he made subtleties to make it think that it's not his mama. He was like, she going out late at night, she partying, she living like she never before. And then Steve's like, well, it's not my fault. I didn't decide to live with my mama.
Like Steve, like I ain't trying to hear none of that.
Shit. He was like, says like her and her new boyfriend always out on the town getting freaky and shit like that. He like, nah, bro, I ain't trying to hear that. It's payday.
Yo, Steve, I'm thinking to myself, yo, Steve, you forgot what a normal paycheck look like?
Oh boy, Steve got his paycheck. He like, well, hold on, don't get too excited, Steve. Look at that check. And Steve looked at the jacket, and Steve almost got a heart attack.
Right. So that what's funny is that while he's opening this check, he's like, why don't you get your own apartment? And then Cedric said 4 words, look at your check.
Shit.
Steve opened the check.
And he caught the illest heart attack. He said, where the rest of my money? Who the hell is FICA? If I'm gonna say I'm gonna take a lot from my check, at least take me out to dinner first.
My man was like, look
and
at
tell
all
me
these...
I'm pretty.
My man was like, look at all these tax deductions.
Oh my god.
And he's like, look at the piece Uncle Sam is getting. Yeah, the look as you said, the look on his face, I'm just crying.
I'm so weak.
Because we've all been there, and it's like,
oh yeah,
facts.
My first check, I said the same thing. Who the hell FICA? He really said, if Uncle Sam gonna do me like that, at least let me be dressed up, take me out to dinner, and tell me I'm pretty.
Right? And then here comes Regina walking in all smiling.
He said, Piggy. he dropped the formality right off the rip. He said, Piggy. Look at what they did to my money.
You know, the fact that he said, he recorded
he said it out loud. He didn't have no kids.
No chill.
My money. Yo, she jumped. She heard. She had the red flags right in her head the moment she. He's like, Piggy.
Oh, and she came back clap. She's like, listen, this Regina. She's like, if you call me Piggy one more time, I'll tell everybody how you used to wear rollers in the shower cap. I'm like, oof. Oof. Yo. I'm still cracking up my Steve with this check. Oh my goodness.
That's an iconic moment. Every time anybody gets their check, it's we all look at it the same way.
Mm-hmm. And nigga said it's talking about, I'm going to go on a limb here and say, she don't like you too much. Son. Oh, yo. Steve and Regina's dynamic is killing me because I'm just dying. Thanks. Because she low-key enjoying all this.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Hey, yo, Steve started talking about some flashback stuff from high school. And then here comes Steve in the office with holding the check. He's like, look, Big, look what they took from me.
Look what they did to my money.
She's like, listen, the only thing I want to hear from you is that you wrote your report. She ain't trying to look at this check at all. And Steve's like, ain't nobody care about none of that. Look at my check. Yo, I feel Steve on all of this because I'm like, yo, every check, I'm like, look at my check. Get back my money. Shit. Oh, man. Yo, so I'm just crying. Just, whoo. Yeah. So Steve's like, what we going to do about this check? Listen, that's the check, that's it. That's what you get, son. Shit. Like, the funk has hit the fan.
Yep.
And then, of course, here comes Cedric talking about, yo, he caught Bullethead trying to scam people. 3 caught Monty.
Yep. Regina not with that. She reversed that. Got to give everybody back their money. And then here come Coach. Yo. I collect my money back from you later.
Mm-hmm. And then he tried to play the black girl. And Steve look at him like, what? He's like, you white. Oh, man.
Shit, always got to keep a brother down. Like, what?
And like you said, Regina was like, yo, you're going to give back all the money for all the people that's stupid enough to fall for your game. And here comes Cedric. Yeah, me too, punk.
And then in the middle, Steve still want to know how he going to live off this money.
Right? And Steve with the class, hey, wait a minute, what about my check? Yo. Steve ain't focused on that. Fuck this check. Well, I would be surprised if he talked about this check this whole episode.
Oh, I would imagine that. So next scene we shift back into the classroom and the kids are bored with it.
And then Steve, how am I supposed to live off this? Cedric, I got 3 words for you. Velveeta.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Oh, poor Steve. Oh man.
Thanks.
This is us in the stocks.
Oh yeah, 100%. Where my money go?
And so he's next scene he's back in the classroom. He's teaching music, actually, doing his job.
Yep. And the kids are bored.
Yep. Romeo was like, if you're gonna torture us with music, just grab an instrument and beat us with it. I'm like, woof.
Well, Steve challenges that for them to do better and come up with something to work on. And Sophia challenges that on top of that. She's like, nah, we can't come up with nothing creative like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then he tell him, oh yeah, I got an assignment for y'all. Like next assignment, all of y'all is to write a blues song. Mm-hmm. And let's see how this goes. Oh, and then you performing in front of the class. A word?
And then Sarah had something to say about that because she was talking about her time of meeting Debbie Allen. And the class always gets sick of Sarah's story because apparently she's one to falsify greatly. And she was talking about the time she met Debbie Allen. And she was like, so where'd you meet Debbie Allen? And she was like, we was both sitting at the same diner. But she was sitting over there and I was sitting over there. And Sophia was like, did you have an interaction with her at all? And she was like, yeah, she told me to stop looking at her.
Mm-hmm. And Sophia was a classic kid. She's like, yeah, what do you think? Who do you think we are, the kids from Fame? I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, oof.
Steve starts him out on the blues song because he's saying about his check, his money troubles.
Oh, yeah, I told you, I knew this was gonna come back up, right? Because Steve's like,
I can't pay for nothing in my house blues. I got this itty bitty money blues.
Yeah, he was like, I had all this cash, but now I'm a teacher and I got nothing in my stash. I'm like, no. Yeah, Steve's going to it.
Sick as though he was broke from before. Now, how do you feel about being hardworking and broke?
Right? Yo, Steve is just going in. He is just going in with the whole thing. He's killing the PO. He's like, yeah, I got no money. They took all my shit. I can't turn down nothing blues. And then Romeo the kids start getting involved. And they're just having a good time at this point. That we probably need to make up some song about these stocks.
Shit. Next week y'all got the blues jams coming for y'all.
Right? And then he called on Bullethead. I'm like, oh boy. Yeah. And Bullethead's like, nah. He's like, nah, I'm not with it. And for Bullethead seems upset and he just leaves. And here comes Steve. Here comes guidance counselor Steve.
Save him old Steve.
And then Steve asks him why. He told him his mom got his home shopping network monkey on her back. I'm like,
oh, you got jokes.
And then he like Bullethead, so he having this little heart to heart with Bullethead, trying to figure out. The next scene we get Cedric and Steve, and you can definitely tell this is the teacher's cafeteria.
Oh yeah.
Old school.
But Cedric going through it, he was like, she did it. she did it. She letting this man talk to his mama about letting his baby to getting his thrown out and shit like that. So he need to find a place of his own because his mama definitely throwing him out.
She's like, boy, you need to get your own apartment. And he said to him, what you think you meant by that? Yeah, and Steve was like, yo, you need to go to church, find you a homely woman with a check cashing card and a big bed. I'm like, no. And then here come Regina. Talking about like, yo, Mr. Hightop, we go to press tomorrow. Where's my shit?
Yeah, she busting him over the balls like a drug dealer at this point.
And Steve was just running her to act like, listen, I got all these classes, I got all these rooms, I got all these papers to grade. I worried about your newsletter. And then she's like, yeah, Mr. Hightop, I hear you, but like all the other teachers saying the same thing. She's like, do you need some help? And then here comes Cedric. She's like, you know any home women at your church?
Listen, man, he trying to get it.
I ain't mad at you, Cedric. I'm not mad at you. And Regina just walks off. She's like, listen, we not doing this, Cedric. We not doing this, coach.
Yep.
Oh, man. And then Steve is over here, I guess, negotiating with the cable provider. So, I thought you was my girl. Why you gonna do my cable like that?
Shit, you just gonna cut my cable off because I missed like 5 payments.
Right? And then Steve was just going there with the cable person. Like, what you mean you can't help me? Right? Like you were saying, like, just because I missed 5 or 6 payments, you acting like you don't know a brother. Yo, poor Steve. Yo, Steve was going through it.
Steve not the only one going through it, because in the midst of that, Ced came through the door. He was like, she finally did it. Her boyfriend convinced her to throw out her baby boy. So Ced got thrown out, and Steve like, all right, man, you can take the couch for a few days. But Ced angling in to move in all together, because he like, yo, I know what you making on the check, and I know what I'm making on the check. There's no way you could hold on to this room without, some help.
And this Ced got the phone to like, hey Shirley, he gonna have to call you back.
I just said, bro, you just lost me my cable. You better get an antenna hook and a wire to get up on top of the roof and get me my HBO.
Oh man, yo, that was and he still going in and talk about how mom's boyfriend convinced her to kick him out. Yo, damn. He's like, listen, so he told him, say, like you said, he's like, here's the sofa. You had that for a couple days, and then Ced is angling, and he's making that pitch. He's making that pitch, and Steve says, and Steve is like, no, not even a maybe, just a no. He's like, nah, we not doing that. And Ced is like, nah, you can't keep this on a teacher's salary. He's like, yeah, I can't. He think I just gotta get a few luxuries like cables, heat, food. Ced is still trying. Steve was like, nah, nope. buddy. It's like, now I don't know what those prices was like back then, but poor boy, you ain't got no choice now, Steve. Because present day rent is no joke. And poor Ced is still trying to sell.
He coming up with multiple offers and multiple things that he trying to work to get his angle in and work that. But then in the middle of all that, Steve get that call. He get that call down at the police station that Bullethead just got arrested, and he got to go down to get him.
Yeah, I'm like, dang. So Steve was down at the police station, and he sees Bullethead caught.
Yeah, he was on probation, but he wants to save his dog.
And then he started telling him a story how he had to break out his dog because his dog was falsely incarcerated for barking tickets. I'm like, what? I was like, that don't make no sense. And Steve, look here, you little shrapnel-headed boy. I'm like, oh, here we go. Steve about to go in. And then he was like, yo, the neighbor's been complaining. This is the third time. If I'm coming with $250, they gonna put him down.
Yeah, he got to figure out what he can do, get the maneuver. And then he was like, all right, I'm going to spring you loose. And he was like, you will give me the $250? He was like, $250? Man, I just got my check. You ain't getting no $250. I don't even got $250 on me like that.
Mm-hmm. He was like, FICA took my $250. I don't know what you talking about.
Facts. And then here comes Bullethead being aggro and mad. He was like, I don't do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, bro, I could just spring you. Like, shit. And then Bullethead was acting mad ignorant about it. And he was like, oh, all right. So it's like that? So you lost your ride.
Back, so I'm like, yo. He's like, man, listen, I ain't got to come all the way down here for you.
Shit. I didn't have to come. I didn't have to spring you. I ain't have to pay for all that.
Yeah, and then Bullethead said, whatever. And Steve was like, whatever. Mm-hmm. He's like, boy, you just lost your ride, man. Shit. Yeah. Ungrateful ass.
Yep. So, shift to the next day. Steve wake up. Steve look at the living room after letting Seti stay. Bro, that shit was a tornado. Oh, he was like, Sad, what got robbed? Look over. Do I still got my piano? Yes. Do I still got my sax? Yes.
Yo, the way Steve screamed, he's like, Sad, what happened? We've been robbed. Oh man. He's like, they trashed the place. Where's my sax? Steve was really like, what is going on? So Steve was freaking out. He's like, where was Grammy? Oh, there it is. Like, yo, Cedric. Steve is just going crazy right now. And then Cedric was like, yo, he's like, take it easy, homie. I was just making myself comfortable. And then Steve was like, roomies? He's like, Cedric, we are not roommates. Cedric looking at him like, and Cedric is still trying to sell it. He's like, Steve, big decision shouldn't be made on an empty stomach. Mm-hmm. So he's tried. I give him that. He's persistent.
Yeah, he's not trying to get kicked out. How you think he stick with his mom for so long?
But then he's like, Sad, yeah. He's like, Sad, you just stay here that night was a favor. And then he's like, oh, you said fried catfish?
Get that shit all prepped up and ready.
Right, said, like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and then the knock on the door. And then he said, yo, let me go get the door. And then he opened up the door. It's a delivery man. He was like, yo, I got a couch out here. I'm bringing it in. He like,
And like you said, we said that couch. And they said the way Steve looked at Sad, and instead of just going in, like I know what you think, Steve, but just because the brother got his furniture coming don't mean he live here. Right? Steve was just going in. He's like, yo, Sad, you my best friend. I'm going to do you a favor. He's like, I'm going to throw your mattress out the window first. Steve was about to just go in. Steve's like, so when your behind hit it, it won't rupture your spleen. Steve is not... Cedric tried, he tried, but Steve was not budging on his roommate thing. And then so, next scene, we're back at the school. Regina tells Mr. Howard good morning. Steve tells her, like, you're not going to believe the night I had. And Regina brought up something from the past. About this is not going to be another story involving the Mary Jane girl. And, they must got some serious history.
Oh, yeah.
And so that, he's telling her he's telling her what happened with Bullethead, how he got to come bail him out, and so forth and so on. And, Steve was like, listen, listen, I ain't signed up for all this. He's like, listen, once that bell hit 3:15, I'm supposed to be out. He's like, I'm not with all this extracurricular activity stuff. And so he goes on. And again, Regina asks for that profile. Yo!
She ain't letting up.
Oh, and now then she start going and talking about poor Mr. Hightower. I'm like, oh, I tell you, she is low-key enjoying this.
Oh, of course.
She is love seeing Steve suffer right now. Because she's just like low-key like, yeah, bitch. Oh, man. So Steve goes off to class. And poor Steve. Mm-hmm. And then she tells Steve like one day before he leaves, like, don't judge your value by your paycheck. Like, what do you mean about that? So anyway, next scene we get is Steve in class. He's trying to get the class settled.
Yup, he got the blue session going down. He going off with the blue session. He start off with the blue session and Bullethead goes up first, and he goes off about his dog. Shuts pretty much the whole class down with that.
Yeah, Sarah tried to go first. Like, nah, she's like, I'm not going first. Her and Sophia go back and forth again. Mm-hmm. And here goes Steve. Should I call Don? Talking to the ladies. Like, should I call Don King and make this an event? Oh, man. And so, like you were saying, the next thing we get is Bullethead out of all people.
Yep, going up.
And I was like, wow. And the class is shocked. It's like, the class is like, Bullethead's going to go? And then so Bullethead start speaking his truth.
Yep.
And then Steve is feeling it. And Steve completely stops the music. And then so we see Steve and Cedric back at Steve's apartment, right? Steve's like, yeah, I'm about to. Cedric's like, yeah, I'm gonna take my little personal belongings. I'm gonna set up a little shack in the school gym or office or something. And then Steve finally breaks down and said, all right, said you can stay. So Steve finally broke down and said, he's like, listen, Steve was like, yo, you my best friend. I can't afford to keep this place on my own. And I would like to start drinking Kool-Aid with sugar in it again. And Sed's happy. He's like, all right. And this goes back to the beginning. He's like, yeah, I'll do it for Sed, except live with him. And look where we at now.
Yup. Showing this show goes right back to that
right,
foreshadowing.
Went full circle.
But once again, he talks about somebody at the door and said like, I'm gonna go get it. And then here comes the mover again with some more Cedric stuff before Steve even said it was okay to move.
Yeah, right. And then Bullethead comes by. He thanks Steve for getting him set up with the job at the dog pound. And that was nice of you, Steve. So that little musical number, Bullethead did touch you.
Yeah.
And then here Bullethead talking about Mr. Hightop, I'm not gonna forget this. And Mr. Hightop like, don't forget. He's like, don't worry about it. And Bullethead's like, worry about what? And then Steve goes back to Cedric. He's like, what you mean talking about panel? He's like, you're not gonna take my gold records down and have this place looking like the basement of your mama house. And then here comes Sed talking about, yeah, man. He's like, yeah, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to change nothing without your consent. And then what we hear, ding dong. Mm-hmm. And Sed's like, let me go get that. It's the same movie do from earlier. Said like, nah, son, nah.
So you're not going to catch me up again with the bullshit.
And that was the end of the episode.
Yep. And we get more the music credits and bloopers. Mm-hmm. So my final impression here was, again, another funny classic with a story behind it, but you stay for the constant jokes. Continue with it as always, because this is a timeless classic.
So yeah, all of this was definitely jokes. I enjoyed the interaction between Steve and Regina, and of course Cedric. Steve is now getting accustomed to being in the school.
The guidance counselor. We here for guidance counselor Steve.
Yes, we are. And there's so many little things here that you appreciate working in the school. So some of them I was just cracking up on.
Definitely. The jokes was a mile high here. It definitely jumps for a classic that you could see brought over into today's kind of episodic shows, especially black shows popping.
Steve's still probably somewhere like, where's my rest of my chip?
Shit, to this day, yeah. Everybody, you speaking to a generation.
Like, look how much they took.
Shit, you talking about a generation that wasn't even upcoming in this show yet.
Yep. So that. Oh, man. But yes, like I said, these first two episodes were the jokes, the comedy, the characters are likable.
Everything was top notch, man. So, it's like bringing it all ahead. That was definitely a timeless classic.
Yeah, these first two made you want to see more.
Definitely.
And they were a good watch. They weren't too long. It's like they got to the point.
Nah, they was
not too much fluff.
Yep, that's how it's good to just breathe past like Steve Harvey Show with the good elements and the good timing and stuff like that.
Yes, and lots of jokes, lots of good jokes.
Yep. But that was good. So we closed the book and we bag up the couch for this week on the Steve Harvey Show. Now, for next week, next review episode, we're down with BMP again. We're back with Blackmore for Power. Next episode, we should be touching subject on Power Rangers Ninja Steel, one of the more later seasons down the line, episode 1 and 2.
So is the Ninja Steel stronger than the Ninja Storm?
Well, we finna find out. If the Steel stronger than the Storm, we find out if they stand a test to be better than the silliest students of the first year there, or if we find anybody as badgering as Cam.
Oh boy.
Shit. So, We got an email set up for y'all to send y'all comments and concerns and anything at blerdbynature@gmail.com, Facebook and Instagram at Blerd By Nature, Twitter at Blerd By Nature, Nature, and hit us with the YouTube co-host.
As always, you can find us on YouTube by searching for Blerd By Nature Podcast.
Yep. So we got stuff in the zeitgeist cooking up. We gonna be expanding and working on a couple things. We'll keep y'all updated on the next levels of notes and steps of what we going as life continues to go on. We'll continue to work forward and aggrandize and get ready for some good interactions we're going to have with the folks coming up, because we kicking into season 2 pretty soon.
Yeah, we are.
Yep. So you have any final notes before I hit the outro?
I said hit the outro.
Yeah, man, big fella, I'm going to hit the outro for the funk that hit the fan. Now, thanks for joining us today from Black Thought to Nerd Power. This is Nicholas Hot Tower, Mr. Go with the flow when the funk hit the fan.
And this is the man with the plan, Maurice.
And this was another edition of the Blerd By Nature podcast.
We said peace.
Peace, man. Peace. And FICA, give me the rest of my money. Out.